Right.
Does that have to go through these guys, or that's something you can just?
Let's see how it goes now.
Okay. I'll get it. It's made out, it's addressed.
We are live streaming.
Well, let's see what happens in the next couple of days.
It's not even.
That one?
This is something we're going to table for now.
Both of them?
There's only one.
There's
The other
only
one
one.
is a typo.
The other one's a typo.
Oh, 13 is to fix the typo?
Pardon?
That 13 was to fix the typo?
Yes.
17 and 18 too, right?
Yeah, and we gave those to you. It's a real minor, but you're reading them. There's a typo on it, so. Yeah, but that's just the vote.
Oh,
This isn't a typo.
this is a typo.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome, everybody. I guess we'll lead off with anything from Matt?
Not tonight. Thank you.
Quiet tonight.
Appreciate your patience in the last couple of weeks here with me.
All right, Ed?
Some updates finally. Senior Center. We resubmitted the draft NEPA package to Albany. They were fine with it to get a categorical exclusion, except now the emails that were sent to the tribes for sign-off, they want either to come from you, supervisor, can't come from me, or to change the certifying officer to me so that the emails are good. So we're having a conference call Wednesday to work that out. That's the last, otherwise the package, everything we sent was fine. So,
Yeah, that conference call is Wednesday.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Historical building, we met with the building architects, we're awaiting a response from them at this point. And then regarding the potential mold in the attic, got the initial quote for the initial assessment. It's $650, so Michelle can just sign off on that, we'll get that going.
Great.
The library did a site visit out there with the low bidder. He's coming back hopefully this week with his modified scope, cost. The police building flooring, you heard anything from them yet? Okay, contract's been executed, notice to proceed's been sent to the contractor with a note to contact Michelle for schedule, so that's in the contractor's court, ready to go.
How long should that take, start to finish?
How long?
You have any-
I don't know, because they're gonna have to work around some schedules. That's between court, and obviously the police is open 24 hours, so they'll, my guess is probably a few weeks in and out. The police cameras, I finally heard back from NICEAG. I have to get the locations, polls, submit it and submit NICEAG's form along with that agreement. So I'll reach out to, that was from Lieutenant Gummo? Is that right?
Was it
For the
Gummo or
camera?
lower? I think it was Gummo.
Oh, yeah, okay. Impound area fencing is, I got an email that the slats were put in, which is the last piece. We've asked DeMarco to go out, he's gonna go out tomorrow, hopefully, and take a look and make sure. Sean, yeah, sorry. And once I hear back from him, then that job is finished. And then the last thing is the dog facility. Ag and Markets came out last week, did a second visit. Their reason was there just to make sure the floor was corrected. They dumped water on it, washed it, filmed it. They said, yep, that's how we expect it to operate. Checked off the other stuff that they had on their checklist. The small area in Kennel 6, it's about a square foot. And some of the regalvanizing work needed on where the wells are rusting. They agreed it's a maintenance item, and really we're just waiting to get in there, coordinating that with staff, because they had all the dogs in there. We couldn't get in there to do the work, but hopefully the dogs, most of them are gone now, so they can start to get in there to do the work. But Michaela from Ag and Markets said, go ahead and do the final submittal. So I'll get a draft to her, make sure it's correct, and then, once that goes in, then the state will send the reimbursement check to the town.
So what's going on with the HVAC in there?
Well, I mean, the grant called for 2 HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. They're in. When we were out there, Gene was commenting that, it was humid and stuff, so one of the things Michaela suggested, and I agreed, was to, a fan on a thermostat has an auto setting, which only comes on and off as the heat or AC turns on, or an on setting, which means the fan runs, it circulates air. So I put it on the on position. We said, let's see what that does. From a humidity perspective, if it's that humid, they said, well, we can always just get a room dehumidifier and set it in there. So, but I wanted to see how the fan was going to work with it on constantly.
Okay.
And I turned them both on, just even though the other one isn't in the kennel area, I just turned both systems to on so that they were constantly circulating air, because the system brings in fresh air the way the system's designed, and then it's external exhaust. So. And that's all I got.
Nope. Attorney's office?
During executive session.
Okay. John, Highway?
Jason Snow. Jason wanted to snow. The guys, proud of the guys. They did 30 straight hours. They had a 3-hour break in 30 hours. They kept up with it as best as they could. Saturday was tough with the Bills game, obviously. They were a little short-handed. I got to thank this one, though, too. She sat in the truck for 30 hours, and I don't know many deputies that would do that. So I just wanted to really thank Michelle for picking up some slack and giving us a hand.
Yeah, that storm seemed to hit us more than it did the south.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Because the stadium had nothing,
Nothing.
after they got the initial
Yeah.
shot.
Fourth quarter, then they got buried.
It started coming in the fourth quarter, yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle, anything from the parks?
Nothing really with the parks, although they did a great job also. I want to thank them too. They kept up their end of it and kept the parks open, and they did a good job there. Library, the roof has been repaired for that emergency leak that we had at the library. It is completed. When he did clean the gutters on the one side, he did mention that those will have to be addressed. They are pulling away from the building, which was not part of his scope of work, but that will have to be addressed sooner than later, because that could also make the water come on the west side back into the building because they're pulling away. So something.
Is MGR coming back to fix those? Aren't they the ones who did them?
MGR did fix the heat shields that were damaged. This is the other side where they cleaned the gutters, and those, MGR didn't do those. So that's really not on him, but it is pulling away from the building, which he's worried that the water off the roof will start to get between into the walls. So we'll have to address that. Obviously, he just finished, so something we will take care of as soon as we can, weather dependent. I did send everybody the quote, which you can review and we can discuss future regards, or however you want to do it regards to the senior center. That is just the recommendation, as they were the people on site. Yes, it would probably have to be put out to bid and all that. I understand, but I wanted you to see what is going on at the library from what their recommendation is. Right now, they've removed the trap, but it was approved by the sewer authority. But it is something that will need to be fixed early or mid next year, pending nothing happens between now and then.
Is that, does that bid include coming out there to do the work they already did, or is that going to be a separate
No,
bill?
that was already billed. That was an emergency thing for what they did. They didn't know about the new issue until it was unburied, and they saw that the pipes weren't in line, and the trap wasn't doing its job, and it's...
How much was that?
It's in your email, how much was which part?
The first part to come out there and take care of the emergency.
2,800.
Okay.
Is there a diagram of what they want to do? So
They
we can
just said-
visually see it?
They did not send me a diagram. I can reach out to them and see if they can draw it up for us.
Okay.
And I only have the pictures that we took when it was on Haverty, so. I
You
ask
can see
them.
on site the difference in the height.
What I'm talking about is what they want to do. I
They
just want to be
sent me
able to
the
see.
quote, Mark, but
Okay,
I can ask them for one and see if I can obtain one.
thank you.
Okay, I guess we'll go over the resolutions. Number 1 is mine, the minutes. Number 2 is the audit claims. Councilmember Mazur, number 3.
Number 3 is the reaffirming of the building permits for the last 2 weeks.
Councilmember Dickman, number 4.
That's to authorize the private improvement permits for the detention basin on 80 Rotec Drive.
Number 5 is mine, to appoint a police officer. Councilmember Leary, number 6 and 7.
6 and 7 are both adopt local law changes, one for a code enforcement program, the other one for permit and application fees.
Councilmember Mazur, number 8 through 11.
Number 8 is to neg deck a local law number 9 on site plan approval and extension period. That was 8, excuse me. Number 9 was negative declaration for subdivision approval revisions. Number 10 is to adopt the same laws that we just neg decked, local law number 9 of 2020, which is site plan approval, and number 11 resolution is to adopt local law number 10, which has to do with subdivision approvals.
And 12 is mine, and the auction off the senior center vehicle. And number 13, Councilmember Dickman.
This is for 10 Lancaster Parkway to authorize a special use permit for the storage of recreational vehicles.
And 14 is mine, is the yearly agreement with the school district. And number 15 and 16 are Councilmember Mazur.
Yes, number 15 is to amend a resolution adopted back in July for special use permit at Angry Buffalo on Worley Drive. And 16 is to approve a quote to repair a clutch and bearings on a chipper for the Parks Department.
17 and 18 are both mine, to appoint our 2 new captains. Councilmember Burkhart, number 19.
Authorize change order number 1 to PIM Corporation Additional Culvert Area, relining Harewood Run, Sugarbrush Lane, and Running Brook Drive.
20 is mine, to appoint temporary part-time seasonal person in my office. Number 21 is Councilmember Burkhart.
Authorize change order number 5 to MGR, task required New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Dog Shelter Project.
22, 23 is Councilmember Dickman.
22 is just a special use permit renewal for Northeast Diversification, and that's 2 Cadby Parkway. And number 23 is another special use permit renewal, and that is for MJJ Property Management for mulch and processing, 6140 Genesee Street.
24 is Councilmember Leary.
24 is to approve the proposed roof repair that's already been done, which we were speaking about previously.
25 is Councilmember Burkhart.
Award bid reconstruction Simi Road culvert over tributary to Cayuga Creek to Union Concrete and Construction.
Mr. Supervisor, could you explain to us why we're changing the salary, the amount for Ms. King in your office from,
Because she's
what was
gonna-
it, $18.05 to $25?
Yeah, because she's going to be doing a job as an accountant for now. She doesn't want to go full-time. We've lost our accountant, so she's going to be temporarily filling in until we hire somebody.
So
She will go back to her original salary once she does that.
Once that is done. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to take a short break. Be back at that.
Back in the building itself. So it's odd because where it comes out of that's where it was. The pipe going into the building didn't come down, but they're saying that the pitch was up. So I'm kind of confused because it's been there for a long time. It's been there for a long time, and they're saying, well, you know, we had a lot of equipment out there, and I'm thinking, Man, that's clay. How did it change? I don't know. But it is back now.
Yeah.
And that's where they found it.
That's odd. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless somebody ran over it.
But the thing is, it's all concrete. It's underneath concrete going out.
Oh.
So I'm like, well,
I didn't.
so, yeah, I'm kind of confused on that too.
Strange. I asked him what's going on in the library. Sure. He said the line that got out of the building.
Oh, yeah?
Been there a long time. I don't know. Under the concrete.
From Steve.
The live streaming is on, just so you know. Everything is being recorded and on YouTube.
Shouldn't be bugging you when you're enjoying yourself. Basically wanted to relay a conversation I had with the director with the ponytails over there. It's just he's not getting what's necessary to get the people. Can't issue something that's going to fall down on town property.
No, absolutely. Can't do it, can't do it, can't do it.
You just, there's a lot of that going on, but you know, the reality is they have to provide that document.
Sure.
Is it possible that you guys have to take your role, suspend regular business, get to the meat and potatoes for all the things? Is it possible?
Well, that's up to the supervisor.
Yeah.
What, you wanted to talk to the board?
Well, I just would like, so we don't stay here a whole hour
And what did you want to talk about?
about the lot behind Partridge Walk.
Yeah, that would be at the end, but you can ask, as soon as he comes back, ask him.
I was in Unity. I know.
Yeah, ask him, to bring that up at the beginning rather than at the end.
Where is this fellow?
Well, he should be sitting right here as of 7 o'clock when it starts.
So just go up and ask him.
Sure, before he starts the meeting, as soon as he walks in.
457. It's empty. I guess it was supposed to be here for the states. They never got built.
It's all wetlands. Did you want to put this up?
No. Well, I pulled up the
It's not, that's the inventory, that's the national inventory. They did a walk of that night, and it increased it, it's like 80% covered now. It was a very small portion. They have from Aurora Street all the way through. There's a name to it, it's a street. Simcoe Road? That's being utilized by somebody.
It's really crap.
South end of it, there should be a wetlands walkover report because they try to utilize it for soccer games. And it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago maybe.
When I saw that road, I said, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, no, it's a paper road, it's always been there.
It's one of the paper roads that's got lots on it. The right way?
An existing forming contract.
I looked at it and there's like 6 or 7 lots.
Yeah.
Landlocked.
Yeah, they're all landlocked, you're exactly right.
What are these lots doing?
Right. Yeah, they couldn't develop that into a subdivision because they didn't have water sewer capacity. They didn't have either lift stations, but the county was right around the time. The county's like one of the more lift stations. It's not.
How are you? I knew I was going to come back there. Thank you. You too. Yeah, everything's good. I know.
40 acres, 42 acres.
Thank you.
So
I am.
here, what this
I am.
is.
I have a lot of people coming in.
Yeah, it's the counties, and it's only an inventory.
I have 9.
I went on ours, they're not state, they're kind of what?
Yeah, but they're not regulated, right? It's not a regulated. Here's a DEC. There's nothing
Wow.
there.
Yeah, they showed up with that.
And there's your flip, right? But this is the inventory.
He's
What they did
amazing.
Even at the time of the
He
development.
really is amazing.
Pretty good bulk of it right in here. And they did this bulk for, let's say, 18 years. Yeah. Mine was this. It just grew exponentially. It hadn't been farmed. You know.
Fred Smiles, he's up
You
here
should be
where I
really
live.
proud.
It's always been that way. It's in floodplain. The last couple of years, I'm mowing it. Look on our drawing boards in here. We're doing it. I said, what are we doing? Oh, Fred's got a development. That's why he's doing it.
Wow.
So Hidden Meadows, the developer paid.
Yeah.
Probably him.
Right.
Soil and plant whatever. Plant something. Yep. So they're in. Start over.
Thank you. Happy, healthy. See? I am. I mean. Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah.
If I want a manpower.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
On your, what I have to bring was confused.
Yep.
But when they will give it to you.
Oh, yeah.
Manpower still.
She's gone. She's enjoying life. I was just with her last week, and she's just
There's a couple of ways you can look at that formula. State lays out.
I've got
There's
like
also
3 more years before.
the
Yeah.
insurance, ISO, the insurance rating.
No, just my daughter.
Like they do in the fire department, right? They'll analyze how the fire department's, and they'll create a rating for the department, utilizing whether
Numerous times.
it's a proper coverage or whatever it is. I mean, it's an independent study.
2 of my grandchildren are there, so.
Hard to justify.
It's unheard of these days. Did they come to your house for Christmas? Oh, nice. Yeah.
They opted out of retail and
That's right.
so now they're asking about
Well,
cultivation.
I'll have 11 of them go for
We're right in front of the meeting.
Christmas Eve. I have 17.
But there is legislation, state ag law.
Thank you.
Right.
They packaged it all in one. Meaning, we'll
Be
license
with them. Thank you.
soon, it's like,
Thank you.
but the town,
So you opted out of all 3?
huh?
So you opted out of all 3?
No. The code that's adopted, they have nothing to do with production or cultivation. That just recently happened, I think in October. I went through the state's website, I was researching everything on the site. All the public hearings, everything was in October.
Yeah, but after that.
No.
Oh, we come up with a law.
When the town opted out, it was before the state had regs in place, right? So since then, the state has been almost on a monthly basis hitting each item, I guess. So we did public hearings and preliminaries and all these, so you have to read, just license the first.
Yeah.
Now they're creating, growing, and licensing. I mean, if you really look at it, it's no different than any other product that's being developed. You grow it, it's in the, sell it, it's in the commercial districts, and if you're going to consume it, it's an assembly line. In the zoning district, you have to meet pretty state pretty much the same guidelines, but one license both. It could be a bar or something.
Yeah. they still allowed?
That's
No, they-
next.
oh, they are.
That's coming.
Cigar
Cigar lounges are next. We're actually getting one where utilizing the industrial unit, the house is trailer. So these are mobile cigar lounge.
Really?
And he's gonna try to do 15%, smoking room
Lounges must still be allowed. I mean, cigar companies, cigars got.
But see, with those occupancies, they all need to be contained.
Yeah.
They all have their air quality, they all have separations and everything else, and it's not really a public building, it's a private building. It's associated.
Right, you got that membership.
That's what allows them smoking indoors, because New York State, there's no smoking
Right.
indoors. And that was one of the topics that they did.
I remember when they first started changing the smoking laws, remember they had the areas designated in the same
In the same room.
restaurant or
Yeah.
bar, and it was smoking, non-smoking. I was at the Gold Base for after work happy hour. That's back when I smoked. And we had a couple tables, we were standing around talking, and I was smoking. And we were having a can't smoke. No, sorry. Where's the smoking area? Behind you, step over the wood. Okay.
Piece
The
of
bar
tape.
had wood, under the bar stools.
Great.
That's where you can smoke.
Yeah. That was your dedicated smoking area.
And I was at Bridge Stadium one time, and halftime I stood up, everybody was, people moved away, they were coming around, and I was smoking. Yeah. This is back now, just about changing the law. So, you can't smoke there. I'm outside, and nobody's around me. No, you had to go into the
Conditioned space, right?
Yeah, into the concession area, which is in, Bridge Stadium. It's pretty closed.
Yeah.
Just go in there. Okay. Whatever you say. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you got a couple police captains, but that's not all these people. Unless they're here for the Merc. No, they pretty much said their piece. That's not enough. What came in, so they had this church. Just walk around. Stacked them up. Just took a roll and pushed them in.
Nobody wants the front.
I got a call today. VIP was dropped off in my office for Raw Roots.
Yes. Well,
It still says Raw Roots on it.
it's the plan.
Yeah.
The occupancy scheme.
But so it'd be submit that tomorrow.
Sounds like,
Next meeting.
sounds like there's gonna be another storm
I know,
next weekend.
Undercoating.
people are all driving.
I'm surprised to see
The Bills play,
they still have it.
they just said that there's a storm in Chicago.
Fred Downey.
Yeah, they said that,
Pretty big
Did
accident.
you say how much?
Got two
said,
here.
this
Two or
is
three in
having
North
camera
Park.
channel
Yep.
two. Chicago
One or two
potentially
up there,
shuts
too.
down on Friday due to a blizzard. It's going to be hard for anybody planning on going to the Bills game.
They just went up in Lockport too.
No, that's it's Wester Honda, Wester Basil Toyota. And Basil Volkswagen. And then there's this GMC place on the corner. Smith. Mike
Okay.
Dave Smith used to be up here. He closed down there.
I was wondering, is it possible, if you roll call, you could suspend regular business so we can get into the situation?
They can, sure.
Of the lot, like, parking lot.
No, we can't. We gotta follow the order of business.
Down here. Or, okay.
Yes, public hearings, that's good. Yep. No. Oh, gosh, no. Okay, we now have 7 o'clock. Let's start the meeting. Dan, would you please do roll call?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Here.
Councilmember Dickman.
Here.
Councilmember Leary.
Here.
Councilmember Mazer.
Here.
Supervisor Rufino.
Here, please stand for the pledge and invocation. Pledge allegiance. Please remain standing for the invocation. After the season is over, the Christmas lights come down, the fragrance of pine dissipates into the air, and the Christmas music no longer plays on the radio. We may ask, what happens next? The wonder and awe of Christmas is just the beginning. Christmas reminds us that the babe born in Bethlehem has given us a purpose for living, and what happens next to us largely depends on how we embrace our Savior, Jesus Christ, and follow him. Amen. Amen. Thought that would be appropriate since Christmas is Sunday. So tonight's meeting, we have 25 pre-filed resolutions, 1 suspended resolution. We do not have any public hearings. We have 1 executive session. We'll be closing in memory of 2 people, Eva G. Burkhart and Robert Garrow. So at this time, we'll ask anybody that'd like to speak about the 25 resolutions and the 1 suspended, raise their hand, please. Yes? And please state your name and address for the clerk to record.
Yes, Jerry Blanchard, 1160 Branson Road, Lancaster, New York. I'm here speaking on behalf of Lee Cheloniak, who couldn't be here tonight. I'm addressing petition, or resolution number 21. Honorable town board members unable to attend town board meetings because of health-related issues. I would appreciate the town board and consulting town engineer Ed Schiller address the following concerns and questions at town board meetings that I and many others have and seek clarification on. At tonight's town board meeting, resolution number 12 approves change order number 5 from MGR Constructors, Inc. with respect to the outline description provided to the town board by the town's consulting engineer's letter dated July 13, 2022. The increase represents the task required by the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets during an inspection on April 20th, 2022, which included correcting slopes on kennel floors, adding a dog wash station with water and sanitary connection in garage, addition of post bib and garage for hot water, and raising floor tub in the kennel area. Resolution related questions. Have all tasks been completed? Why 8 months to complete the task required by New York State Agriculture and Markets in April of 2022? Were any of the tasks assigned by Ag and Markets to be completed in April removed from the specifications submitted to the state in 2020? Removed in the value engineered contract agreement with MGR Construction, and the reason we are paying for materials and workmanship we shouldn't be? Other shelter-related questions. We have been told for months by the town that shelter project was near closing and that the $225,000 New York State Animal Companion Grant Fund would be released to the town. The $225,000 would be used to offset the July 5th, 2021 $485,000 capital improvement bond to construct the new dog shelter. Last week, New York State Ag and Market representatives visited and inspected the shelter along with DCO Karn and Town Engineer Schiller. The Ag and Markets reps have yet to issue a report, but made their dissatisfaction known that the kennel fencing was rusting, there was drainage sanitary issues, there was no ventilation system in place, and opening windows were not an alternate option, and 1 kennel floor slope was yet unaddressed. If these are additional issues to be corrected, at whose cost? It is clearly stated in the July 19, 2021 MGR contract bid award and the resolution approved by all the board members at the time, Supervisor Rufino voting no. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby approves change order number 1 to MGR Constructors, Inc. with respect to the outline description provided to the Town Board, which has been certified by Engineer Edward Schiller to contain no material changes. Description of change order number 1. The original contract amount was based on an estimated quantity quality for items included for construction. This is the adjustment to reflect the proposed changes for those bid items. A ventilation system was included in the original shelter construction design. When was it removed? Who authorized its removal? Did it happen during the value engineered contract negotiations and decreased bid sum with MGR? Where other contractors offered the same opportunity to rebid the project? It appears the kennel fencing is rusting because it's not stainless steel but galvanized steel. Was stainless recommended in the original specifications? Is there a maintenance bond in place and for how long? Where does one go or FOIL to compare building specifications between original and MGR value engineered contract specifications? This is the 5th change order and takes the project cost to $499,323, $15,000 over the $485,000 the town bonded for the project. Nearly $200,000 over the estimated $305,000 project cost estimation submitted to New York State Agricultural Markets for Animal Companion Fund grant petition, which amounted to $225,000. The town's portion, $80,000. The town's cost obligation is now $275,000. Had the town submitted a request for the allowable grant max of $500,000, its project cost would have been $125,000, 25%. A $150,000 blunder from the get-go and thereafter, where no one is being held accountable for. Thank you for allowing me to voice my concerns and requesting the board give clarification to the concerns voiced and giving some idea as to the closure date, Lee Chewaniak. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak on the pre-filed resolutions? I'll ask for a second, a third time. Okay, we're going to move on to official reports. Any official reports?
Not tonight, thank you.
No? All good? Okay. Town board committees? All good? Okay, then we're going to just move on to our resolutions. I'd like to move resolution number 1. This resolve the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held December 5th, 2022, being hereby approved. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 2, and this resolve the following audit claims being hereby ordered paid from the respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of the town clerk by the assistance of the supervisor. It's check run number 12192022. Total amount hereby authorized to be paid is $569,040.75. May I get a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, number 3, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Be it resolved that the following building permit applications are hereby reaffirmed. There was a total of 35 permits, 27 in the town, 8 in the village. Now therefore be it resolved that the building permit applications herein coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver be and hereby reaffirmed with a waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster at any future date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, number 4, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 4 for its adoption. Whereas Classic Tube, 80 Rotac Drive, Lancaster, New York, has applied to the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster for a permit for private improvements upon real property in the Town of Lancaster within 80 Rotac Drive. And whereas the Town Engineer of the Town of Lancaster is certified on the following permit application, that it has reviewed the improvement plans and permit application for the installation of the private improvements requested, that they conform to the ordinance of the Town of Lancaster. Now therefore be it resolved that the private improvement permit application number 845 for 80 Rotac Drive, Lancaster, New York, which is a private improvements for an 18,800 square foot addition to the property on Rotac Drive for Classic Tube, and it is updated parking, sidewalks, and water retention also included.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 5, whereas William J. Carn, Jr., Police Chief of the Town of Lancaster, by letter dated the Town Board dated December 8, 2022, has recommended the appointment of Connor O'Brien of Lancaster, New York, to the position of police officer, whereas Connor O'Brien is eligible for appointment to this position pursuant to the standards and procedures as set forth in the civil service law. Now therefore be it resolved that Connor O'Brien is hereby appointed to the position of police officer in the Town of Lancaster Police Department effective January 10th, 2023, contingent upon approval by the Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiation agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the Cayuga Club Police Benevolent Association and all applicable provisions of law. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, is Connor with us tonight? Congratulations, Connor. Connor is moving from our Parks and Recreation Department. He spent a number of years there. Okay, Councilmember Leary, you have 6 and 7.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following resolutions for adoption. Whereas the municipal home rule law of the state of New York and Chapter 26 of the Town of Lancaster Town Code provide for the adoption and enactment of local laws, and whereas a proposed local law of the year 2022 entitled Establishing a Local Government Code Enforcement Program of the Code of the Town of Lancaster was introduced to the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster by Councilmember Leary on the 21st day of November 2022, and whereas the Town Board, acting as lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, has determined the action as a Type 2 action and has issued a negative declaration, and whereas the Town Board called for notice and held a public hearing on the proposed local law on December 5th, 2022, where all interested parties were allowed to address the proposed local law. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, the attached local law number 7 of 2022 is hereby adopted. The local law shall be effective upon its filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to the municipal home rule law.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 7, whereas the municipal home rule law of the state of New York and Chapter 26 of the Town of Lancaster Town Code provide for the adoption and enactment of local laws, and whereas a proposed local law of the year 2022 entitled Chapter 258, Permit and Application Fees Revision of the Code of the Town of Lancaster was introduced to the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster by Councilmember Leary on the 21st day of November 2022, and whereas the Town Board, acting as lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, has determined the action is a Type 2 action and has issued a negative declaration, and whereas the Town Board called for notice and held a public hearing on the proposed local law on December 5th, 2022, where all interested parties were allowed to address the proposed local law. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that 1, the attached local law number 8 of 2022 is hereby adopted. Number 2, the local law shall be effective upon its filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to the municipal home rule law.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, number 8 through 11.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, after the following resolution, move forward to adoption. Whereas the Town of Lancaster Town Board is proposing a local law to amend Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 75, Site Plan Review, by adding subsection 400-75D9D and amending subsection 400-75E1 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of this action pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting on December 7th, 2022, and recommended a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the board has duly considered the action, the environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in New York Regulations 617.7C, and such other information deemed appropriate, and whereas The board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these, has made a reasoned elaboration for the basis of its determination. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. Number one, based upon thorough review of the examination of the known facts relating to the action and its careful review of all potentially adverse environmental impacts and the entire record and proceedings relating to the action, the board finds that the action will have no significant, will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and that the draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. 2, the attached negative declaration incorporated herein by reference is issued and adopted for the reasons stated in the attached negative declaration. 3, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to distribute copies of the resolution as necessary, and 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 9, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution. Whereas the Town of Lancaster Town Board is proposing a local law to amend Chapter 400 zoning, Article 8, regulations applying to all districts, Section 38 subdivisions by amending subsections 400-38H4D, 5F, 8, and adding 400-38H9 and 10 to the Code of the Town of Lancaster. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of the action pursuant to SEQA regulations at their meeting on December 7th, 2022, and recommended a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the board has duly considered the action, the environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in New York Regulations 617.7C, and such other information deemed appropriate. And whereas the board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas and made a reasoned elaboration of its basis for its determination. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. Number one, based upon the thorough review and examination of the town facts relating to the action and its careful review of all potentially adverse environmental impacts and the entire record and proceedings related to the action, the board finds that the action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment and that the draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. 2, the attached negative declaration incorporated herein by reference is issued and adopted for the reasons stated in the attached negative declaration. 3, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to distribute copies of the resolution as necessary. And 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 10, whereas the municipal home rule law of the state of New York in Chapter 26 of the Town of Lancaster Town Code provide for the adoption and enactment of local laws, and whereas the proposed local law of the year 2022 entitled Site Plan Review Approval Extension Revision of the Code of the Town of Lancaster was introduced to the Town Board on the Town of Lancaster by Councilmember Mazur on the 7th day of November 2022, and whereas the Town Board, acting as lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, has determined the action is a Type 1 action and has issued a negative declaration, and whereas the Town Board called for, noticed, and held a public hearing on the proposed local law on November 21st, 2022, where all interested parties were allowed to address the proposed local law. Now therefore it be resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that number 1, the attached local law number 9 of 2022 is hereby adopted. 2, the local law shall be effective upon its filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to municipal home rule law.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 11, whereas the municipal home rule law of the state of New York in Chapter 26 of the Town of Lancaster Town Code provide for the adoption and enactment of local laws, and whereas a proposed local law of the year 2022 entitled Subdivision Approval Revision of the Code of the Town of Lancaster was introduced to the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster by Councilmember Mazur on 7th day of November 2022, and whereas the Town Board, acting as lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, has determined the action is a Type 1 action and has issued a negative declaration, and whereas the Town Board called for, noticed, and held a public hearing on the proposed local law on November 21st, 2022, where all interested parties were allowed to address the proposed local law. Now therefore it be resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that 1, the attached local law number 10 of 2022 is hereby adopted, and 2, the local law shall be effective upon its filing with the Secretary of State pursuant to the municipal home rule law.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 12. This resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby declares a 2015 Chevrolet Express van with approximately 125,390 miles to be surplus property and authorizes the Senior Center Recreation Supervisor, Mary Beth Gianni, to place said van up for public bid at an online auction with Auctions International, and conclude, beginning December 22nd, 2022, including on or about January 5th, 2023, with the funds received from said auction be made payable to the Town of Lancaster and delivered to the Town Supervisor's Office. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, number 13, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 13 for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster held a public hearing November 7th, 2022 upon special use permits to the Code of the Town of Lancaster upon the application of Keith A. Wilkinson for a special use permit for the storage of recreational vehicles on the premise locally known as 10 Lancaster Parkway, the Town of Lancaster. And whereas Keith A. Wilkinson received Town Board approval on November 21st, 2022 to subdivide 10 Lancaster Parkway into 2 lots which create a new SBL number, but this special use permit will remain with 10 Lancaster Parkway. And whereas persons for and against said special use permit have had an opportunity to be heard. And whereas per letter dated October 28th, 2022, Code Enforcement Officer Matt Fischione has reviewed the special use permit application requesting pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning Section 78 and found it to be in compliance with the zoning district requirements for this location. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant the special use permit to Keith Wilkinson for storage of recreational vehicles at 10 Lancaster Parkway in the Town of Lancaster upon the conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period of December 19th, 2022 through December 18th, 2024, and that the applicant will continue in compliance with conditions as set forth in Light Industrial District, supplementary regulations for LI District, and special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and do any additional conditions listed herein as long as the applicant continues to engage in the occupation listed above on the premise. And those are that there shall be no new or used campers, trailers, recreation vehicles, or boats displayed for sale. There should be no storage of dismantled or damaged vehicles. Applicant will provide a copy of New York State business papers and tax ID numbers, and the permit is to be renewed every 2 years.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 14. This resolved, the Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster is hereby authorized to execute the agreement with the Lancaster Central School District for the purpose of providing a coordinator for Family Support Center for the period of December 12th, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, with the town paying 50% of the annual prorated direct salary, $20,162.40, and 50% of the annual prorated health insurance, $8,994.74, for a total contribution of $29,157.14 for the jointly funded program coordinator, George Brimmer. Be it further resolved that the Lancaster Central School District will invoice the town 3 installments of $9,179.05, with the first being sent on or about December 20th, 2022, and the last being sent on or about April 1st, 2023, and which will be paid for with funds from budget line A4320.411, Youth at Risk Programs. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, you have 15 and 16, please?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas by resolution adopted on July 18th, 2022, Town Board of the Town of Lancaster granted a special use permit to Joseph David of Thorny Events LLC of the Angry Buffalo to operate a restaurant with outdoor patio seating, premises located at 2753 Worley Drive in the Town of Lancaster, for the period of July 18th, 2022 through July 17th, 2024, in conformance with Section 400-17 Light Commercial, subsection B1V of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. And whereas on December 5th, 2022, Joseph David was granted a amended site plan approval to include an arena for indoor flag football, sports courts, and pro shop as accessory uses. And whereas by email dated December 12th, 2022, Code Enforcement Officer Matt Vachon has indicated that the outdoor commercial recreational activities and arena, as well as the indoor commercial recreational activities, be included as accessory uses on the original special use permit approval. And whereas the town board has given due consideration to the request made by Matt Vachon to amend the special use permit granted to Joseph David, Thorny Events of the Angry Buffalo, to include the accessory uses allowed by the permit, and has determined that it is in the best interest of the community to make this amendment. Now therefore be it resolved that the resolution adopted on July 18, 2022 by the town board of the town of Lancaster granting a special use permit to Joseph David of Thorny Events of the Angry Buffalo is hereby amended to read as follows. Number 1, the pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 5, Commercial Districts, Section 400-17, Light Commercial, subsection B1V of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant a special use permit to Joseph David of the Angry Buffalo to operate a restaurant with outdoor patio seating, which will include outdoor commercial recreational activities and arena, and the indoor commercial recreational activities as accessory uses on the premises located at 2753 Worley Drive in the Town of Lancaster, upon the conditions as set forth in the zoning ordinances for the period beginning July 18, 2022, and ending July 17, 2024. And 2, the applicant will continue in compliance with the conditions set forth in Section 400-17 Light Commercial, 400-19 Supplementary Regulations for LC and GC, and 400-78 Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and do any additional conditions listed herein, as long as the applicant continues to engage in the occupation listed above on the premises, namely, A, permit must be renewed every 2 years at no additional cost to the applicant. B, applicant will provide a copy of the business's New York State Federal Tax Employer Identification Number, and when applicable, a license from the appropriate regulatory agency for the service being provided. C, hours of operation for outdoor seating and athletic field activities shall be limited to no later than 10 p.m. And D, amplified sound to the outdoor seating and athletic fields is prohibited.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas Michelle Barbaro, Deputy Highway Superintendent for the Town of Lancaster, has requested authorization to repair the clutch and replace the bearings on the Parks Department 2018 M12R Beaver chipper, and whereas the Highway Superintendent obtained a quote for both of the repairs from Bobcat of Buffalo for a combined amount of $5,597.97 in accordance with the Town of Lancaster's procurement policy, and whereas by letter dated December 12, 2022, Michelle Barbaro has recommended the Town of Lancaster approve the quotes for the repairs from Bobcat of Buffalo for the clutch dated October 11, 2022, in the amount of $4,201.79, and the bearings replacement dated December 9, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the quotes submitted by the Highway Superintendent to repair the clutch and replace the bearings on the Parks Department 2018 M12R Beaver chipper from Bobcat of Buffalo, 6830 South Transit Road, Lockport, New York, in accordance with their quotes dated October 11th and December 9th, 2022, for a combined amount not to exceed $5,597.97, which will be paid for with funds available in the town's 2022 Parks Repairs of Trucks and Equipment budget.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 17, whereas Police Chief William J. Carn Jr. of the Town of Lancaster, by letter dated December 7, 2022, has recommended the appointment of Police Lieutenant Jonathan Zeiders to the position of Police Captain to fill an upcoming vacancy. Whereas Jonathan Zeiders is eligible for appointment to this position pursuant to the standards and procedures as set forth in civil service law. Now therefore be it resolved that Jonathan Zeiders of Lancaster, New York, Being is hereby appointed to the position of police captain in the town of Lancaster Police Department effective January 1st, 2023, contingent upon approval by Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of law and subject to the execution of an employment agreement between the town of Lancaster and Jonathan Zires, which is hereby approved and presented. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes, and it's Captain Ziders here. Congratulations on your appointment. I'd like to move resolution number 18, whereas Police Chief William J. Carn Jr. of the town of Lancaster, by letter dated December 7th, 2022, has recommended the appointment of Police Lieutenant William Gummel to the position of Police Captain to fill an upcoming vacancy. And whereas William Gummel is eligible for appointment to the position pursuant to the standards and procedures as set forth in the civil service law. Now therefore, be it resolved that William Gummel of Lancaster, New York, being hereby appointed to the position of Police Captain in the town of Lancaster Police Department effective January 21, 2023, contingent upon approval by the Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of law and subject to the execution of an employment agreement between the town of Lancaster and William Gummel, which is hereby approved as presented. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes, and it's Captain Gummel here. Congratulations on your appointment as well. Councilmember Burkhart, number 19, please.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I'm offering Resolution 19 for adoption. Whereas PIM Corporations, the contractor for the Town of Lancaster's Highway Capital Improvements project involving the realigning of 3 culverts within the town, Harewood Run, Sugarbush Lane, and Running Brook Drive, has submitted change order number 1 in the amount of $23,549.55 to the town board for their approval, based on the description of work previously provided to the town board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves change order number 1 to PIM Corporation with respect to the outline descriptions provided to the town board. Description of change order number 1, additional culvert area of 1,863 square feet was lined over the calculated area of 27,000 square feet provided in contract. The original contract sum was $643,750. The contract sum will be increased by this change order in the amount of $23,549.55. New contract sum increased, including this change order, will be $667,299.55. Be it further resolved that the supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute change order number 1 on behalf of the town of Lancaster.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 20. This resolves the following individual, which is Lynn King, to hereby appointed to the following part-time temporary seasonal position in the supervisor's office for a period not to exceed 5 months, and that these being part-time positions provide no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. Again, it's Lynn King, clerk, $25 an hour, effective date December 20th. Be it further resolved, supervisor of the town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, you have numbers 21 through 20, oh, sorry, just 21.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I'm offering Resolution Number 21 for adoption. Whereas MGR Constructors, the company awarded the contract for the construction of the Lancaster 2020 Dog Shelter Project, has submitted change order number 5 to increase the amount by $9,262 to the Town Board for their approval, based on the description previously provided by the Town Council Consulting Engineer. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves change order number 5 from MGR Constructors with respect to the outline description provided in the Town Board by the Town's Consulting Engineers letter dated July 13th, 2022. Description of change order number 5. The increase represents a task required by the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets during their inspection on April 20th, 2022, which included correcting sloping of kennel floors, adding a dog wash station with water and sanitary connection in the garage, addition of hose bib in the garage for hot water, and raising floor tub in kennel area. The contract bid sum increased by change order number 5 in the amount of $9,262. The new contract bid sum, including this change order, will be $499,323. Be it further resolved that the supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute this change order on behalf of the Town of Lancaster.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
No. Councilmember Dickman, number 22 and 23, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board members. I offer Resolutions 22 and 23 for adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant a renewal for the special use permit to Timothy Shapansky, Vice President Northeast Diversification, Lancaster, New York, upon the terms and conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, and that the applicant will continue in compliance with conditions as set forth for light industrial districts and special use permit of the Code of the Town of Lancaster with the following conditions. Permit shall expire December 31st, 2023. The original applicant can renew the permit at no additional cost. And also, the applicant will authorize representatives from the building inspector's office to enter the premise upon reasonable notice.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
And number 23, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant a renewal of the special use permit to Aaron Stisser of MJJ Property Management LLC to perform mulch shredding and processing on the premise locally known as 6140 Genesee Street in the Town of Lancaster, with the conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, and that the applicant will continue compliance with conditions set in the agricultural residential district, overlay district, and special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and that no more than 10,000 cubic yards are to be stored. They must maintain proper dust and odor remediation practices. They should adhere to the specific hours of shredding, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Vehicles that remain on paved surface. Mining activities will require permitting upon commencement, and the permit shall expire December 31st, 2023, and they can renew at no additional cost.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Leary, number 24, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following resolution for adoption. Whereas the roof of the Lancaster Library located at 5466 Broadway in the town of Lancaster was damaged and in need of emergency repair, and whereas Deputy Highway Superintendent contracted John Home Improvement to provide the repairs for a cost of $4,964.19 per the proposal dated November 29, 2022, and whereas the funding for the repairs is available in town's 2022 buildings, equipment, other capital outlay budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the proposal from John Holmes Improvement located at 302 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, for the emergency repair of the roof on the Lancaster Library for an amount not to exceed $4,964.19, and which will be paid for with the funds available from the 2022 Buildings, Equipment, Other Capital Outlay budget. And be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the proposal, and payment for services and materials shall be made upon the receipt and the approval of the required insurance certificates by the town attorney's office.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 25, please.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I'm offering Resolution Number 25 for adoption. Whereas the Town Board has previously duly advertised for bids for the proposed reconstruction of Simi Road culvert over tributary to Cayuga Creek, and whereas funding for this project is available from the Capital Improvements Project Bond for the replacement and/or reconstruction of various culverts adopted on March 21st, 2022. And whereas 7 bids were received, opened and reviewed on October 4th, 2022, and whereas the Tonto Engineering and Design Professionals, by letter dated October 10th, 2022, has recommended awarding the bid to Union Concrete and Construction, being the lowest responsible base bidder, in the amount of $337,328.40, and by email dated October 17th, 2022, Town Consulting Engineer Ed Schiller has concurred with the Tonto's recommendation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby awards the bid for the Town of Lancaster's reconstruction of Simi Road culvert over tributary to Cayuga Creek project to Union Concrete and Construction in the amount of $337,328.40, being the lowest responsible base bidder, in conformance with the specifications on file in the office of the Tonto Engineering and Design Professionals, and to be paid for with the funds from the March 21, 2022 replacement and/or reconstruction of various culverts, capital improvements, projects bond. Be it further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to execute this contract on behalf of the Town of Lancaster and to do all things necessary to officiate the intent of this resolution pending the receipt and approval of all required documents, insurance certificates by the Town Attorney's Office.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. May I have a motion to suspend the rules to present resolution number 26?
Motion to suspend the rules?
May I have a second?
Second?
On the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 26. It's resolved the following individual, which is Shirley Hunt, is hereby appointed the following part-time temporary seasonal position in the police department for a period not to exceed 5 months, that these being part-time positions provide no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time temporary employees. Again, it's Shirley Hunt, clerk, $35 an hour, effective date is January 1st, 2023. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Good. We're going to move on to our communications. 8:12 and 8:13 received and filed. 8:14 and 8:15 Planning Committee. 8:16 resolution tonight. 8:17 through 8:25 received and filed. 8:26 resolution tonight. 8:27 through 8:29 Planning Committee. 8:30 and 8:31 resolution tonight. 8:32 through 8:34 received and filed. 8:35 and 8:36 are resolution tonight. 8:37 for resolution. 8:38 through 8:40 received and filed. 8:41 for resolution. 8:42 resolution tonight. 8:43 for resolution. 8:44 received and filed. 8:45 resolution tonight. 8:46 Planning Committee. 8:47 and 48 are received and filed. 8:49 for resolution. 8:50 Planning Committee. and then 851 through 855 received and filed. At this time, I'll ask anybody that'd like to speak about any subject matter, please come to the mic, raise your hand first, come to the microphone and give your name and address, and present your communication. Councilmember Burkhart will be the timer. I'll let you know when your 5 minutes are up. I see a show of hands at all. Anybody like to speak? Right here? Yes?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Veely. I'm with 39 Partridge Walk. I'm here again with some of my neighbors from that area. If you could raise your hand if you're here from Partridge Walk. 2 weeks ago, we came to you with our concerns about the green space in Partridge Walk. And we brought to you an online petition, which had about 230 signatures. It's now grown to about 270. And we brought you paper signatures, around 70, which represented the 38 families that were going to be affected directly, including, their children and the neighbors across the street. So since then, we received great news, and we thank you for sending that letter to us, letting us know that Partridge Walk will no longer be considered for that park, and we thank you for protecting that green space. So really, we just came back to say thank you. We appreciate being heard. We put a lot of work in that, a lot of concern, and we feel like it's going to help us relax more in the holidays, knowing that we have that letter in hand. And also just to reiterate, we are not against parks in Lancaster. We think they're really important. We just wanted to protect the green space off Partridge Walk and find a more suitable location. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir?
My name is Mike Leonard. I live on 36 Partridge Walk. I have a very brief statement tonight. You don't believe me, do you, Mr. Burkhart? I came so close to buying you like a little bell for Christmas. So when I had like 60 seconds left, you could ring the bell.
That would have been great.
Maybe in January. I came here tonight to thank Mr. Ruffino and the town board for making a non-political and intelligent decision on moving on from considering the land behind Aurora Street, Partridge Walk, and Hidden Meadow Crossing for a park. Town land is owned by everyone, and it is owned by no one. The ultimate decision should be made by the Lancaster residents whose lives will be most affected by having a park behind their homes 24/7. There are numerous areas in Lancaster that have small pockets of green space, and many of these residents have made a decision to buy a home and live in that Lancaster location because of the green space behind their homes. People choose to become homeowners in places like Lancaster because we offer these green spaces, along with a great school system, recreation department, efficient and effective police and highway departments, and an already strong park system. The right to privacy and safety is a basic right of any citizen and homeowner. Making the kids of our town a priority and wanting some peace and quiet and trees in our backyards are not mutually exclusive. We have several families on Hidden Meadow with young children who have signed our petition for the reasons stated above. This is not a young versus old issue. Lancaster is a still growing community of over 45,000 people, and in a town this size, there are many conflicting priorities and needs. I believe that the board should go forward with identifying suitable park spaces in neighborhoods where they are wanted, but also develop a system of protecting the green spaces that we have so we do not continue to fight amongst ourselves over this topic. How many, what am I at?
2:15.
Do I get to carry my minutes over like cell phone data to the next meeting?
You don't get cold this year.
I'm working on a really good 7-minute speech for the next meeting. I'd just like to finish by saying Merry Christmas to everyone in the room. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir?
How you doing? I'm Mark Hyde from 631 Aurora. It's a hard act to follow, but I'll try. I'm here to really speak on your response to this proposal that we put forward, and it was received very favorably. It was such a rapid response. I saw some traffic, email traffic going back and forth, and I just want to bring to the board my perspective, which was safety. It was always safety because, as I mentioned before, my brother Tom, Thomas Michael Hayduk, there's some folks here, if you'd stand up if you know him. Just to give you an idea, we have some back, and that's my family and friends that knew Tommy. And from the safety point, because I don't want to have somebody else standing up here at some point in the future and saying, hey, you guys knew about Aurora being a busy street, and yet you still went forward with the park. That seems to have changed, and that's, again, a favorable decision in my perspective. Again, unless you're in somebody's shoes, you really don't know how they feel. And I'm hoping that and no one else is going to have to feel our pain. It's 14 Christmases without my brother. Random act. It's like getting hit by lightning. And that's without a park. That's without a draw. That was just somebody walking down the street and getting hit by a car. You multiply that with the traffic upgrades or the traffic response going up and down the road, and with children, and it was just a bad decision, and I'm glad that you supported our endeavor to not have to go forward. And again, Merry Christmas to you and yours, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir?
Ted Ulanowitz, 38 Partridge Walk. I just want to hear from you guys. Is there going to be a park in there or not? I just want to know, are you guys proposing, is this going to happen or not?
This board sitting here today is not going to.
So we're not going to have a park. That's all I wanted to hear, is I live next door to the...
And having said that, the makeup of this board can change?
Yes, and please pay attention to the Buckeye Pipeline. It's a high pressure, all that gas goes to that airport, and this proposal...
This board can only make decisions as we sit here. If the board flops over and you have a group of people that want to park there, sitting here, I can't say it's not going to happen. We are, you know, we said I think Mike is speaking to our attorney on alternatives, so.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your time, and
You're welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Anybody else? Yes, sir?
Hey, good evening, Honorable Town Board. My name is Edward Guillen. I live at 27 Hidden Meadow Crossing. I addressed the board 2 weeks ago as well in my opposition to the proposal. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to us. People who are most negatively impacted by this proposal are the ones whose backyards would butt right up to this proposal. So, like the other speakers have said, we're not against parks, we're not against, children. That's up to you guys to decide if you need another park in town, but for us where we live, the negatives for us living where we are were significant for our quality of life. And that's what we were concerned about, is the quality of life, the peace and quiet that we currently enjoy, the green space behind our house that we currently enjoy. So I want to thank you all for listening to us and rendering that decision. And Merry Christmas, happy, safe, healthy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Anybody else like to speak? Yes?
Michelle Barbaro, Deputy Highway Superintendent. Just would like to address the board in regards to the Christmas Eve storm that is projected, that the highway will do the best job that they can possibly do. They're expecting rains, high winds, and a possible 30 inches of snow projected. Who knows if they're correct? We're hoping the weathermen are wrong, but John and myself and our department wanted to address the storm with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Pause for a second time, and a third time. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session under number 2 for Parks and Recreation. May I have a motion?
Motion to go into executive session.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, just everybody, wish everybody, you and your families, a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for attending and keeping things professional. It's nice to get input. It's well needed. We are board members, but we represent you, and we want to hear your concerns, and we want to address those. So thank you, and Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Well, my wife.
Yeah, there's probably one better sign up there. Merry Christmas, man.
I don't say hi, but...
Yeah, you too.
You look so hot.
God be with you.
Thank you very much.
Seriously,
Appreciate it.
really. Thank you.
I'm proud of you, Connor. Yeah, well, I sent some Merry Christmas. Diane, if I don't see you, Merry Christmas.
I don't see you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thanks again, Dave. Merry Christmas.
I asked her, I would want her to go